Hi, my name is Brooke Davis, and I'm a freshman at Morristown High School. I want to begin my story by going back to when I was a child. Ever since I was little, I've been obsessed with all things outdoors. Beaches, forests, animals, anywhere, in no matter what type of weather, nature has always and will always pique my interest. So naturally, when starting this whole class, I knew I wanted to base my project outside. One day in early September, I was walking through Burnham Park, which is just down the street from the high school. Burnham Park is a medium-sized area, including a playground, 2 pavilions with picnic tables, and 2 lakes, all reachable through walking down 2 well-paved pathways within the plot. While I was walking through the plot, I noticed a picnic table that needed a bit of maintenance. It was dirty, beat up, and an all-around mess. The idea of fixing the table sounded like a simple, structured plan. I then decided this would be my life design project. Almost immediately, I began reaching out to my sources. First, it was the Recreation Department, then the Shade Tree Commission. As I continued to share my ideas with the people around me, my project continued to grow. I would get recommendations from all parties, telling me what to add and what to remove. Naturally, I took the feedback and piled it onto all the other goals. Before I knew it, my project became a large and obtainable assignment. At this point, I lost interest and motivation. The project and change I was dying to accomplish just a few short months ago had become the last thing I wanted to do when I stepped into class at 12:50. It also didn't help that this roadblock fell while I was simultaneously balancing 2 separate swim teams, along with my commitment in the theater program. I found myself having little to no time to handle the boatload of meetings, planning, and progress expected to achieve my goal. As a result, I spent almost 3 months using my class time catching up on other classwork and, I will admit, playing games. This took a massive toll on the efficiency of my project. When I had the opportunity to make great progress, I instead used it to do other things. Soon enough, critique night rolled around. While I walked around to the different tables, I noticed all the progress everyone else had made. The efficiency of the work and my peers' use of time management had me reconsidering my project. My self-esteem went down, and my only thought was that I needed to change my idea. So, I brought my concerns to the only logical person I know, my mom. In speaking with her, I learned one of the most valuable lessons from this whole journey. After multiple accounts of insisting my project was never going to be accomplished and doubting whether this class was even right for me, my mom and I landed on the middle ground that my project had become simply too much. My mom helped me realize that my project was too much for me to complete in one school year, and somewhere in my head I knew that, so I avoided the situation instead of tackling it. And that's why I didn't get anywhere for months. It wasn't that my project was bad, it's just that it was so large. When I talked to people about my project, especially Mr. Comp, I wasn't able to clearly depict and explain my project clearly. So change would be the best option for the sake of completing the class and the ultimate satisfaction with the result. Later that week, at this point it was about mid-year, after talking with my mom, we decided to condense my project. Instead of trying to complete a large, outreaching assignment, we lessened it down to something smaller. This consists of planting a variety of perennials around a maple tree in the park. I took it upon myself to choose the flowers, order them, and plant them myself. For starters, this is actually something I found out because of this task. Flowers are expensive. It costs about $22 for 5 bulbs, and I'm predicting that I'm going to need about 40. In order to pay for these flowers, I created a GoFundMe. I raised over $700 at exhibition night alone, with my total being $1,115 raised. This money will go towards 2 different types of flowers. We are looking for flowers similar to common violet and marsh marigold, which are both native to New Jersey. I will be in charge of watering them weekly and overall maintenance. Of course, none of this would be possible without work, without facing challenges, fighting your fears, and staying motivated. Throughout this whole process, I put work aside for things seemingly more entertaining, and I paid the harsh price and suffered in multiple cases, like a severe disadvantage with time. Of course, this inevitable theme of problem solving and persistence shows up with most experiences. I learned from this whole project, through every step, every challenge, that the progress you make is done by the work you put in. A crucial part of growing up is understanding that not everything is going to be handed to you. At some point, the job of emailing teachers becomes your responsibility, not your mother's. Doing laundry becomes your responsibility, not your father's. In my case, it came from being able to acknowledge that my project became too heavy to handle, and having the ability to work through it and make it better than it was before. Something that consists of efficient work and not just a name. It might not be a crazy project or something that will make heads turn, but the satisfaction you get from completing something you had challenges with tends to be greater than the challenge itself. This theme has stayed relevant ever since experiencing it for the first time back in December during my project. I've seen it with my swim career, in homework, and even in small chores. Ever since I swam the 400 freestyle for the first time ever during the first meet of my freshman year, my goal had always since then been to make the county cut. I was so close to the cut in multiple events, but the coach and I saw my potential in this specific race. During practices, I would slack off, and doing hard work was the last thing on my mind. But hitting these roadblocks within my project has brought me into the habit of constantly reminding myself that results are worth more than the struggles endured along the way. So, on January 17th, 2026, I swam the 400 freestyle and I made the Morris County 400 freestyle cut. Not only did I make the cut, but when I touched the wall, I saw that I still had 3 extra seconds to spare. Aristotle once said, "The whole is greater than the sum of its parts." To explain, the problems you run into and the small successes that may not seem like much in the moment result in a larger, greater, long-term finish. It serves a constant reminder that pushing through hard times and making small progress will always have wonderful results that nobody can take away from you. I hope you guys enjoyed my project. Thank you for listening.